is a big idea, a new world order.
Your world is not what it seems. Alex answering. Outside the box.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is November 21st, 2010, just a couple days from Thanksgiving. Thank you all for joining me tonight. We have a couple major stories that we're going to be covering tonight. We're going to be talking about Senate Bill 510, Senate Bill 510. We'll also talk more about the government's quantitative easing program, also known as QE3, and its repercussions. But we're going to start the show for about the first 10 minutes or so, going over the latest news with the TSA. And there's a couple videos we're going to show you. And what we're seeing here is nothing new. We're seeing the expansion of the invasion of our comfort zone if we choose to fly. And what we're going to go through is a couple news headlines here. We covered about 6 months ago the headline about the mobile body scanners that they are unraveling in Europe at this time in response to the underwear bomber story that hit the news during the holidays last year. And what we've seen since that story hitting the news is other revelations, such as an eyewitness that saw a sharp-dressed man help that suspected underwear bomber get on the plane without an ID or a passport. This also came out in the news and was reported by CNN. But of course, this very situation here, the underwear bomber, provided the government with a pretext to buy billions of dollars worth of body scanners, which not only cause cancer because you're getting shot with something that focuses specifically on a certain part of your skin, in specific, your genitalia. The other thing is, despite the fact the government has claimed that they have destroyed these images when you fly, when you're scanned in these X-rated naked body scanners, the pictures are in fact kept in some sort of a database. There's been evidence of this that's also come out in the last year. So we'll start with the news, and there's a video here that's highly disturbing, but you all need to see it. This is the first one. TSA is saying that travelers who refuse scanning can't leave and will be fined. In fact, $11,000. Faced with the prospect of large numbers of people refusing the invasive screening measures they've implemented this holiday season, the TSA is hoping to fight back with threats of fine and arrests. And you notice how they do this during the holiday season when you're trying to fly and be with your family. It's as if the intention is to get us to cease and desist from all travel entirely. Once there, the detainees will not only be barred from flying, but will be held indefinitely as suspected terrorists, face fines up to $11,000, and may also be turned over to local police. One sheriff's office said they were already preparing to handle a large number of detainees and plan to treat them as terror suspects, held until they are convinced they don't pose a terror threat. The TSA genitalia pat-downs have led to threats from some local prosecutors to charge them with sexual assault, which is what's being done in San Francisco at this time. The DA has dispatched officers that are actually watching the TSA at this time, making sure that nothing happens. Otherwise, they're claiming they may charge some with felonies. And so this is some of the attention we're seeing, the response down south in California. And some are going, where is the outrage in Congress? And it's been revealed here. Members of Congress exempt from TSA AIT full body scanners, like the newly appointed Speaker of the House. Head of the Republican Party, Michael Steele, confirmed that Congress members are in fact exempt from security screening. We also see that George Soros is also profiting off the controversial new TSA scanners. He owns 11,300 shares of OSI Systems Incorporated, the company that owns Rapiscan. In the next headline, airport staff exposed woman's breasts and laughed. And there's a lot of stories, more than I can cover tonight, on how women have been treated, especially, ironically, you might be surprised, by female TSA officers. The next slide, this is a snapshot from Nazi Germany. And this is a wake-up call, should be a wake-up call to everyone watching about the parallels between then and now. Just one of many, many examples. And so you see in the mainstream, as you're going to see in this clip, Bill, let's get track one ready. how they laugh at this and make it a joke. And the women that are on this show, the Red Eye program on Fox News, talk about it as if it's sexy and exciting. We'll go ahead and roll that, and we'll come back with the other headlines that go along with this.
Is a thorough frisk really an effective way to combat terrorism, or is it just become an effective way for guys like me to cop feels at the airport? Federal screeners at airports in Boston and
see
Las
how he
Vegas
identifies himself with this lewd behavior. He identifies himself with someone that would do this. This is who they put on TV to entertain you.
No longer using the back of the hand when going over the sensitive body areas. So going through airport security now has the same feeling as being parked in an alley with Kobe Bryant. Andy Dick thinks it's a great idea. The ACLU disagrees. Says a spokesperson, we are all for good, effective security measures, but in general, we're concerned about this seemingly constant.
That is a tough one.
I know. Sometimes I say consistent. You know how it goes, Essie.
Yeah.
The seemingly constant erosion of privacy, and we wonder whether or not it's really going to be effective. But should the fact that I am now going to sport a tent in my sweatpants trump security?
All right, get ready for this. It gets a little bizarre.
Pat-downs are designed to address potentially dangerous items like improvised explosive devices and their components concealed on the body. Essie, do you have any problem with the enhanced pat-down if it's more effective than stopping terrorists?
Absolutely not. I think the more thorough we need to, the better. And the underwear bomber is proof of that.
She likes the thorough
I just think that the inevitable conclusion of this
is the message we're getting from the
pat-downs to like full-on sex.
Yes.
I think if you can't tell whether a passenger is circumcised or like pick out my nipple in a lineup, then you have not done a good enough job.
Wow, yeah, I guess that's what you want to hear. Male
they got to make it funny. Watch.
Lauren, the pat-downs are conducted by same-gender TSA officers. Wow. I like that attitude a lot. Yeah. Lauren, do you feel the same way as the apparently very slutty Essie does?
Absolutely. I'm with Essie on this. There is nothing better than getting groped down by a stranger in public. Yeah. But, my problem is with the back of the palm, I don't really know what they were feeling anyway. I mean, if the underwear bomber, I don't know that would have necessarily picked him out of a crowd. When you're saying front of the palm,
folks, I know this has got to be hard to watch. If you have to stand up, take a deep breath, I suggest you do so. This is as hard on me to watch as it is for you. It has to be examined.
Against me. That's front of the hand, the back of the hand.
Does this sound like your court proceedings?
That was a violent group. You were really turning those screws there.
Yeah. What I'm saying is to find really dangerous explosive devices that are tucked away deep inside male scrotum, you would really
I don't know how much more I can watch.
You have to employ the same technique used in German pornography. Yeah, I definitely understand. Squeeze hard, make the yummy noise. Anthony, will the enhanced pat-down make a difference?
I don't think it will. I wouldn't mind it as much if the girls doing it didn't look like the chick from Precious. They're just always. You'll never see the girls of the TSA in Penthouse.
Okay, stop. Just stop. I can't. We're not playing anymore. This is not appropriate. And they're constantly talking about sex and talking about situations and throwing out buzzwords, German pornography, again, people are so addicted to their primitive mammalian sides, they activate those buttons to control and keep people listening and keep their ratings up. So we have other things we're going to cover tonight, but what you also have to understand is other things going on in the world, other headlines. Okay? Fake bomb made in the U.S. caused German terror alert. When a suspicious package was identified at Wing Hoek Airport in Namibia on Thursday, this is an area within Germany. The flight was halted. The Munich-bound passengers delayed, and news sped around the world that an X-ray scanner had been found with batteries attached by wires to a detonator and a ticking clock. Today, however, a German government minister revealed the bizarre truth. The bomb was fake, manufactured in the U.S. to test airport security. Now, back to this whole situation about, oh, we're deleting the photos. Sure. Well, we're also seeing problems with other organizations, institutions outside of the TSA that are using these body scanners, like a courthouse here in Florida. Feds saved over 35,000 nude scans from just one Florida courthouse. And this is according to Raw's story. In light of flaring controversy over the Transportation Security Administration's enhanced pat-downs and nude body scan image systems, officials have continued to stress that detailed photographs of passengers' anatomy are not saved and do not get passed around, but that's not true in all cases. An attorney for the U.S. Marshals admitted in August that over 35,000 images from a body scanner in a Orlando, Florida courthouse were recorded and stored. Tech blog Gizmodo published 100 of these images on Tuesday. As you can see, they're not as graphic as the ones that the TSA are taking. They obtained via a Freedom of Information Act request, noting that marshals had mismanaged the machine. The photos are not of a graphic nature, as they were taken using a less advanced scanning method than what's generally employed in the airports. Now think about this. Napolitano. Napolitano is a woman who is the front for the TSA, when we all know that she's not the real one making these decisions. So we must ponder and look at this and remind others of how many times they use women and people of color to do the dirty work, especially today. Placated on people's normal human desire for their people to rise up in a society where so many are oppressed every single day. But these same institutions, the mainstream media, the very ones doing this, are there to tell us what is a new way, what is freedom? I think not. And so we see here's something from Napolitano. More to come on Muslims and pat-downs. It was at a news conference that Napolitano was asked by CNSnews.com on the pat-downs. CAIR has recommended that Muslim women wearing their garments, their burqas, refuse to go through the full body pat-downs before board planes. Will you insist that they do go through full body pat-downs before boarding planes? She didn't answer the question. Instead, she talked about the need to keep powders and gels and liquids off passenger jets. What she did say is, we are doing what we need to do to protect the traveling public, and adjustments will be made where they need to be made. Okay, what I've seen in the news in terms of Muslims is I've seen headlines like this. Muslim women will not be subjected to the new pat-down because of some sort of a religious exemption. I don't believe this is the truth. I believe this is a lie, that this is propaganda. And what it does is it, again, is another way that it puts people in camps. Oh, you're going to pat us down, but you're not going to pat down the Muslims, just to get people simply pissed off, because this is what they want. They want a controlled revolution against them, where you operate and you play on their playing field. They don't want you going outside the box, if you will, and doing something different, doing something a little bit more covert or strategic. They want you fighting them the way they want you to fight them, but most of all, they want us into camps fighting each other. So they put out that headline. Napolitano says the Muslims are exempt from pat-downs. And then you see other things out there that are going on. Oh, one of the shareholders of Fox News, this rich Arab guy from Saudi Arabia, he's funding the building of the mosque in New York City. Just more gasoline on the fire. Keep people pissed off and confused about what's really going on. Obama. TSA pat-downs, frustrating but necessary. President Barack Obama on Saturday acknowledged some travelers' frustrations with having to go through full-body pat-downs and scans at airports, but he said the enhanced security measures are necessary to keep America safe. In response to a question at a press conference in Lisbon, where he was attending a NATO summit, there's more news on that. The president said that the Transportation Security Administration has been under enormous pressure to find better ways to screen for explosives and other dangerous items ever since the attempted 2009 Christmas Day bombing of a U.S. airliner over Detroit. In that case, a passenger with links to an al-Qaeda extremist group tried to set off plastic explosives concealed in his underwear. And you see how they moved from shoe bomber to the underwear bomber to Jihad Jane, and very concerned with female breasts. And again, it's all random. It's profiling. Exactly. There's so many things.